What the hell is going on? Seriously, which MMA gods did the UFC piss off to cause this many fight cancellations in such a short period of time? We literally just made a video about how Rob's fight against Khamzat Chimaev is off, it's cancelled. Chimaev is violently ill, he's going back home. So Rob is fighting Ikram Aliskerov instead at the main event of that UFC Fight Night card in Saudi Arabia. And then we just got not one, but two more fight cancellations. And one of them is the one that we were all kind of expecting, kind of dreading, Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. That fight is cancelled. It is off. It's no longer happening in the main event of UFC 303 on June 29. It is done. Dana announced it on his social media channels. He mentioned that it was because Conor was injured. It's due to an injury. Didn't say what injury it was. It wasn't a violent injury like it was with Khamzat Chimaev when it comes to his sickness, but he is injured. If we were to all guess, it's probably his leg. Probably his leg that he broke against Dustin Poirier. What was it, 3 years ago now? Completely broke his leg, snapped it. I reckon that's having a tough time recovering, but maybe I could be wrong. Maybe we could be wrong. It could be something else, but let's assume it's probably his leg and the fight is off. What a wild ride these past few days and weeks have been, right? We remember the press conference set to take place in Dublin. That was cancelled and none of us knew why. Like, what the hell? UFC wasn't really explaining it. McGregor was just like, things are out of our control, da-da-da-da-da. That was cancelled. Things were in doubt. No one really knew what was going on. And then it kind of felt like it was back on. There was more positivity. Ariel Helwani was talking about kind of what he knew, but he couldn't really state what he knew because he was told it in confidence. But it seemed like it was back on, seemed like things were more positive. They were continuing to promote UFC 303 and the main event, McGregor against Chandler, at various events and on their social media and whatnot. So things seemed more positive after that initial doubtful period. And then I think it was yesterday or the day before, Ariel again started reporting that things aren't looking good again. That positivity that existed was completely gone out of the window, and apparently the UFC were looking at replacements. Now, some people were arguing maybe they're just doing that as a fail-safe, just in case the fight is cancelled, just in case they need a backup, whereas others were way more doubtful. They're like, nah, they're trying to replace this thing because something has happened. Probably something has happened with Conor, and it's true. The fight has been cancelled. Conor is injured, and they have found replacements. And we'll talk about those replacement fights in a second. But we don't have a new date for Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler. We don't know when that's going to be taking place. Is it at the next big event, UFC 304? Like, who the hell knows? UFC Perth? We don't know yet. We don't know when this fight's going to be booked again. There's probably rumors and speculation regarding that, but no new date for them. And it sucks. It absolutely sucks because, like many of you, I've been waiting 3 bloody years to be seeing Conor McGregor fight again in the UFC. It's been so long. We want to see how he's doing. We want to see how he recovers from that, brutal leg injury against Dustin Poirier. We want to see if he still has it. We want to see maybe could he make another march towards the title. He is literally the UFC's biggest star. A lot of us were looking forward to this. Like, how many fighters can main event a main card like UFC 303 without a title being on the line, right? There was no one else but Conor McGregor. A lot of hype behind this fight, and we were also waiting for this particular fight with Chandler for so many years. It's been hyped up, and it's just not happening. And that sucks. It's brutal. And you know who I feel really bad for? Michael Chandler. He's been waiting for this fight. And if he doesn't get the fight now, at UFC 303, he's probably waiting over 2 years since his last fight. The dude's not getting any younger. I think he's 37. So I feel really bad for him. He's probably needing a bit of money, and he was looking to get a huge payday with everything going on with him fighting Conor McGregor. So I feel really bad for him. Hopefully they get a new date confirmed as soon as possible. Because if you're him, you have to wait it out. You don't wait almost 2 years and just go with someone else, because what if you get injured and then you miss out on that fight? That would be so crappy for him. And he's not getting paid the same amount of money if he fights anybody else. Maybe the UFC takes care of him, but I doubt it. He's been waiting for that big payday with Conor McGregor for a while, and I just feel really bad for him in particular. So that bloody sucks. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But we do have a replacement, as I alluded to. Instead, at UFC 303, June 29, we have a lightweight title fight, Alex Pereira against Jiří Procházka. This fight was already rumored after Jiří won against Rakic. So we thought that they were going to make this fight already, but not this soon, not on such short notice. Both are stepping up. They're going to be the main event instead. But we also have a new co-main because Jamahal Hill, who was set to fight Carlos Ulberg, who was stepping in on short notice, He's injured. He has a knee injury. And remember, they mentioned his knee injury. They mentioned what kind of injury it was. They didn't talk about what Conor's injury is. So that's just a little side note I wanted to mention. But he is injured, so he can't fight in the co-main. So we have a new co-main, Brian Ortega against Diego Lopes. I think that's a banger. I think that's a great fight. I really want to see how Brian does against Diego Lopes. Diego Lopes is so exciting, bro. He's such a cool, exciting, fun fighter. Really want to see how he does. I think that's going to be a banger as well. But because Jamahal Hill is out with a knee injury, Carlos Ulberg, who again was stepping in, is still getting a fight, and he's fighting Anthony Smith. So good on Anthony Smith for stepping in. I don't know how Anthony does against Ulberg. Ulberg, he's a genuine contender, man. Scary, scary knockout power. Let's see how Anthony does, but good on him for stepping up. But we need to talk about the big question. Does this save International Fight Week? Does this save UFC 303 on June 29? It's a hard one to answer. I would say, in terms of a fight, I think Prochazka against Pereira is a better fight, right? It's a better fight because those guys are more active, and also as well it's for a title, right? So having a main event that's actually a title fight, in my mind, on paper, is better, and I'm still happy with it, right? But like Conor McGregor returning after 3 years, the biggest star in the UFC, there's no doubt that has dampened things a little bit, right? Even though on paper it's probably going to be a better fight, that fight had a lot of hype for other reasons, right? Everyone wanted to see Conor fight. Everyone wanted to see this fight finally come together. And it's hard, even though it's a better fight, it's kind of disappointing still. So I really like it. I like how Alex Pereira is fighting Jiří Procházka, but also it's a fight that we've seen before too. And I just don't know if it's going to have that same impact like Conor versus, Chandler would have had. I think that, having Conor versus Chandler would have brought in more viewers, brought in more money for the UFC. So even though it's a strong replacement and probably a better fight in the end, I still don't think it's saving the event. You know what I mean? I'm a bit torn on that. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But what do we think about Pereira and Prochazka? I worry for Jiří. I really do. I do not like this fight for him. Yes, he looked good against Rakic. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say it like that. If you remember how that fight went, Rakic was doing really well against Jiří. In that first round especially, he won that round. He was doing better against Jiří. He was piecing him up. Jiří got some shots in. And Jiří, the only way that he won was in the second round from memory. And if I'm wrong, please crucify me right now. But from memory, he was just doing what he does, going in with reckless abandon and managed to catch Rakic. And that's how the fight got to the result that it did. Jiří cannot fight against Alex Pereira like he did against Rakic. He can't just go in and keep taking shots like that because he's going to get knocked out just like he did in their previous fight. He cannot do that. He needs to work on his evasion. He needs to work on his defense. Yes, he has the ability to knock out Pereira. We've seen Pereira get knocked out by Israel Adesanya. It's in him to get knocked out. But Pereira, his left hook is so bloody scary. If Prochazka is not careful, he will get put to sleep again. And I just don't know if Jiří is going to completely change how he fights. I don't know if he's going to be more careful. I think that Jiří is getting knocked out again. I genuinely think he's getting knocked out. I don't think he fares well. Even though I'm excited, even though it's a good fight, judging by how he did against Pereira the last time, I don't think he wins this. Maybe he manages to take this a distance, but I just don't know. I don't like his chances. I think Pereira is going to knock him out. I'm going to say in the third round. Maybe he lasts a little bit longer. I don't know. I want to say Pereira knocks Jiří out in the third round. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Crazy, crazy day. Crazy bunch of news. Hopefully you've enjoyed the coverage. And until next time, this has been Johnny. Please take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next video.